It's time for something good. Let's get to it. Hi, and welcome back to Something Good. Now, this is part 2 of the interview with Ovrbrand. Let's get to it. So, from each one of you, and I'll start with Jarvis first, how did you discover your gifts and talent? How did you discover your gift?
I discovered mine at a young age. Believe it or not, I think I initially discovered my love and passion for art, my ability to create art at church. Sitting with my dad, who was a deacon, and a lot of people don't know, but my dad actually can draw. So I was sitting with him. He was a deacon on the front row, and I always had paper with me. So that's how I actually, when I think back, just kind of got interested in drawing and creating art, was sitting with my dad, in church. And then, when you know how to draw, everybody's sitting down in church. So I used to draw people around me, draw whatever in my head. And then it just kind of took off from there. I just had a natural passion and just gravitated toward art. So it was at a young age that I realized what my gift was, and from there on out, it took me to where I am now.
All right, Ernest?
No beast. Yes. So I should also say, and I might have said it already, I'm one of the other artists. I know David mentioned he's an artist as well. It's me and him that are doing music for Ovrbrand. So in regards to music, I think it might have been freshman year, just kind of playing around with an older cousin. You got some of them older cousins who you're gonna do this music right now. I don't care what else you're trying to do. You're gonna get in the mix of this music. I'm gonna write this song and you're gonna rap it. That's how we gonna do this. And you don't like that, and something might happen to you. So I have one of them cousins, right? So freshman year, just kind of karaoke machine, recording over tapes and stuff like that. And he began to write some stuff, and I would rap it. And I guess the cadences and tones and things like that is just something that I kind of developed over time and got a liking to it. And then he was like, man, I'm like, you're not gonna hear my voice no more. I just want to hear yours on everything that I write. So it kind of started like that. And over time, I began to kind of write and develop my own ability. And then, it's something I love to do now. And then as far as fashion is concerned, I don't know. It's kind of hard. I kind of just always been into it or had an eye for it. Putting things together or what I feel like is a good design or what looks good. And then I remember being around just other people and them kind of giving attention to how I put things together, fashion wise and stuff like that. And so I think it was always an interest, just something I kind of gravitated to naturally. And then over time, I began to desire, well, how could I feed that? If this is something God's given me as far as an eye for what looks good into fashion, what could I do with that? And I kind of prayed about it for a while. And, this opportunity presented itself, to be honest. God he dropped the idea, the concept first, which was most important. And then he used, my desire for fashion and clothing and having an eye for what looks good to start this, man. And then, here we are. So I think, I think the body or people around me kind of confirmed some things that I had the skills and ability. And, I just ran with it from there.
Good. All right, David.
Yeah, man. So if we talking in regards to music, I grew up around music in a way that I think is different than a lot of people. Like my house always had some sort of music going on. Our house was the party house. And a lot of times, it wasn't a good thing in regards to what I live and stand on now, but it's crazy how God can take where you come from and then use it for his glory. kind of like what the enemy meant for evil, God meant for good type thing. But music became specific for me when I was freshman in college. Because in high school, I didn't think I was gonna be no rapper. I had no desire to be a rapper. I was a dude in high school where they would have the ciphers, and I was in the cipher just standing around, right? And I'm like praising the dudes who was dope at doing what they did. Like, man, I can't believe they can think that fast. But we was also that same group where if you would say one word, we would say another word to that word. So if you say Michael, I'm gonna automatically say Jordan. Or if you say one thing, I'll say something that connect to that. But I wasn't a rapper at the time. I would just, that's how my thought process was. But I remember sitting in the back seat of one of my homeboys' cars at the time. I was going to Chapin College, and he put it was a beat on, and I just started trying to hold that beat without messing up. And I did it for like 30 seconds, and after that, it was a wrap. I continued to do it. We got back to his house, and I was in his mom's front room in the mirror, and I was just going, and I did not mess up. And it didn't make sense to me because before that day, I never rapped as far as what I saw them do in the cipher. So from then on, this is I was 18 at the time, 18 or 19, and I started doing music. I didn't take it all the way to the next level. I'm glad God didn't allow some things to happen because I was next to some people when I was in the world before I got saved. But God had a different plan. Like, I'm for sure of that now. So I discovered my passion when I was 18, but music has always been a part of my makeup. Like, I love music to the core. And then fashion, man, we come from a culture where we like to look a certain way, like when you see us, we know you're gonna say something about us when you see it, whether this is just me being honest. Like, I remember going to school in Payless shoes, and nobody can really say much to me because of how I would carry myself still with the other stuff that I had on, right? So how can you be in an in crowd with Payless shoes on? Well, it all depends on who you are, right? It's not so much about what you got on all the time, but how are you wearing what you got on? So for us to have a fashion company, it blows my mind because, yeah, we can teach people how to look, but we also want them to understand it's not about what you got on, it's how you wearing it. Because some people got on the best shoes and don't know how to wear them. You know what I mean? They just got a lot of money. They come from like a whole lot of bread, right? And they got it. They got it all, but it's like, bro, let me have that. Let me show you how to wear that. Or let me put that together for you. But so yeah, since I was younger, man, music and fashion has been all a part of me. So to be a part of this is, like I said, it's a humbling feeling because God was using some stuff that was evil from way back in the day. Now he's revamping it and doing it and getting his glory.
All right, Kermit.
I grew up and I went to some private schools, also public schools, and the clothes that I had to wear at the private school level, I hated it because of the way that it looked. And I wanted certain shirts, but my dad wouldn't let me get them. And I remember I just used to get clowned because I had the little shirt with the little gecko lizard on it, and I hated that, dude. And I went to school in Pomona, and it was a private school in Pomona. So it was, and at the time it was Pomona First Baptist, and it was like, oh my gosh. And so I think like that kind of sparked in me. Like what David just said, instead I wanted to be like in the crowd, and I would try to use my fashion as a way to get in there, but it's not what kept me. It was just like my personality. And these guys know how I am. I'm real goofy and I'm silly. And that's what kind of kept me in there. But just throughout the years, I just have a love for just like, fashion, like putting things different looks together, or making something that somebody would not think about wearing or how they would wear it. I will do it. And I will wear it, I'll rock it. And not because I'm trying to be different, just because I think it looks cool. And so for me, I would say I kind of found that love for like fashion, like middle school, high school. But I just never had the ability or the means to put it together because of money. And that was also I think that the Lord used in me, where it was like, KB, you don't need to have like a certain, like, you don't have to buy that expensive stuff. Let's come over here and let's use your money wisely. So just even learning that, like being able to shop, not like discounted prices or something like that, but being able to like use your money the most effective way possible towards fashion without going broke by not being able to pay anything like your bills, but being wise. And I think that's maybe something in our culture as well, where it's like we will look rich, but we are not rich sometimes, you know. And so that's something that really speaks to me, because it's like you could look as good as you want to look, but if you really ain't got it, then what's the point? And so that's something that I had to learn. And so that's why I love Ovrbrand and what we're doing. But yeah, so that's where it started with me. And then I'm an educator like Ernest. So I'm in the classroom and the students be like, "Oh, Mr. Boy, you got that?" Uh, uh, like, and I'm like, guys, it's not about what I got. And I always tell them it's not about what I got. It's about how I rocked it. And they be like, "Oh, Mr. Boy." So it's like, and that's where I'm at with it. Like, kind of going back to what even David said. Like, it's a matter of how you wear it, and it has everything to do with your mentality, man. So yeah, so that's kind of just like I guess my passion there.
Cool. Why is this important to you?
Why is Ovrbrand important to me?
Yeah, why is this important to you?
I think it's the message, because whether we doing music or we doing fashion, that's why like people ask us like, what is your niche? Who's your audience? We talking to everybody, because in what we say, others over self, like we believe Jesus is the standard, right? So when I look at what he did and who he was, it's important for me to be that way. So whatever message I'm talking about, if I got on a shirt, right? Like one of the things that moved me the most is the fact that somebody would have to ask me, what is that? Like, what does that mean? Like, why? And I can always get back to Christ and what I'm wearing typically, right? So I got these conversational starters as advertisement, as I'm just walking around, whether I'm walking out to get my mail, whether I go to the store or whatever, but it gives me an opportunity to be a witness for Christ at all times, right? My man got a sweater on and say, walk humble. I love that on part of something that says that, because I didn't come from a place where walking humble was the normal thing. Like, you walk humble where I come from, they gonna get at you, right? And even still, you can be a Christian and want to walk humble, and if you don't carry yourself a certain way in certain environments, things can happen to you. And it's just facts, like it's just real life. So to be a part of something where your mindset is, I want to help, or I want to do for others, that's my natural inclination off top. I found that out, and I'm just running with it, because I want to be more like my Lord. He's pretty amazing at what he do. He is undefeated in that lane, and the more we try to mimic that, I just feel like it's important, because we got kids that's watching us. It's not just people that's online. Like, my kids is watching me every day. So instead of me just talking about others over self, like, I want to live that junk out. Just only if those two individuals saw me. I got two boys, so if they were the only two that saw me, does Ovrbrand matter? Absolutely. If my household was the only household that got to see Ovrbrand on the screen, and all they seen was our posts just from Instagram, they would be able to get something. It would track them back to a person where they can find the light. Like, why am I really here? It's crazy that you can use music and fashion to draw somebody right back to the main reasons why they're here. Yeah, you here because you're supposed to know this man. His name is Jesus. Let me introduce you to him, So that's why it's important for me. I'm sold out for who he is. I'm sold out in Christ. So I'm automatically going to be sold out for this message, this mission. Like, get this message out there, others over self. What does that look like? All right, well, sometimes you got to take the back seat. Sometimes you just got to fall all the way back. Sometimes you got to say no to yourself, because somebody else might get that thing that you've been chasing all your life. It's not about you. You saying no to that thing may springboard that individual to go to heaven. Who knows? But if you're only thinking about yourself, it ain't going to happen. That's not even consideration for most people. Where I come from, it's all savage mode. So, if you don't go get it, you're going to get got, right? Or if you don't go get it, somebody else going to go get it. So then now you looking stupid, right? And you making excuses and you complaining, and that ain't going to be me. So Ovrbrand is just I can't even say part of who I am. Others over self is what I'm all about. But Ovrbrand is one of the companies where I don't mind running in that lane, because it just makes sense.